What if I told you that life has been speaking to you all along? Whispering its secrets through moments too precise to be mere chance? Think back, have you ever thought of someone you hadn't spoken to in years? Only for the phone to ring with their voice on the other end? Or found yourself in exactly the right place at exactly the right time? Meeting someone who changed your life in ways you couldn't have planned? You may have brushed it off, called it luck, coincidence, a trick of the mind. But deep down, you felt it, something beyond logic was at work. You were right. For most of our lives, we have been conditioned to see the world through a narrow lens. One that values only what can be measured, weighed, and replicated in a laboratory. This is the legacy of a society that has prized logic over intuition, external validation over inner knowing. We were told that life is random. That meaning is something we impose onto events, not something woven into the fabric of reality itself. And yet, the greatest minds of science and philosophy, Carl Jung, Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, suspected otherwise. They saw what we were never taught to see: the hidden order beneath apparent chaos, the deeper patterns shaping our lives. Carl Jung coined the term synchronicity after witnessing inexplicable connections between people's thoughts and real-world events. He saw it in his patients, who dreamed of symbols that later appeared in their waking lives, who spoke of a deep, almost mystical feeling of being guided by unseen forces. Einstein, the father of modern physics, famously stated, "Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous," hinting at an intelligence beyond what equations alone could capture. Tesla, the genius behind wireless energy and alternating current, believed that the entire universe was a vast, interconnected field of vibration, where thoughts and frequencies shaped reality itself. Modern science, too, has begun to catch up with what ancient wisdom has always known. Neuroscience tells us that our brains are not passive observers of reality but active participants in shaping it. The reticular activating system, ROS, a network in the brainstem, acts as a filter, determining what we notice and what we ignore. This is why, after buying a new car, you suddenly see that exact model everywhere. It was always there, but your mind had not been tuned to it. The same applies to synchronicities. The moment you begin to acknowledge them, your brain starts filtering reality differently, highlighting patterns and connections that were invisible before. Quantum physics takes this even further. The famous double-slit experiment revealed that the mere act of observation changes the behavior of particles at the subatomic level. This means that reality itself is not fixed, but fluid, influenced by consciousness. If observation can alter the trajectory of an electron, what does that say about the role of our awareness in shaping the events of our lives? The universe is not a cold, indifferent machine. It is responsive, alive in ways we are only beginning to understand. And yet, despite all this evidence, the modern world discourages us from paying attention. From childhood, we were trained to distrust our intuition. If we saw patterns, we were told it was our imagination. If we had a gut feeling, we were asked for logical proof. Schools drilled us in facts but never taught us to listen to the quiet nudges of the universe. The result? A society disconnected from its own deeper intelligence, blind to the signals constantly guiding us. But here is the truth. You were never meant to sleepwalk through life, ignoring the signs around you. The ability to recognize synchronicities, to see beyond the illusion of randomness, is not reserved for mystics or scientists. It is a natural skill, one that you can cultivate at any moment. And the first step is simple: pay attention. For the next few days, start noticing. Keep a small notebook or use your phone to record moments that feel too perfect to be coincidence. A song that plays just as you were thinking of it. A phrase you read in a book, only to hear it spoken by a stranger an hour later. A chance meeting that feels orchestrated by something larger than you. Write them down. The more you do, the more they will appear. Not because they weren't happening before, but because you are finally seeing them. This is not just an intellectual exercise. It is a shift in how you interact with reality. Once you begin to recognize the patterns, the next question is, what will you do with them? Will you dismiss them as quirks of the mind? Or will you lean in and follow where they lead? Because that is where true transformation begins. When you listen, when you trust, when you act, reality itself begins to rearrange around you. The signs become clearer, the path forward more effortless. Life, once seemingly random, begins to feel like a conversation, one where you are no longer just a listener, but an active participant. And so, I invite you to step into this awareness, to wake up to the deeper intelligence that has been guiding you all along. The world is not as you were told it was. It is alive, conscious, and communicating with you. All that remains is for you to listen. Imagine standing on the shore, watching the waves roll in. At first, they seem random, crashing against the sand in no particular pattern. But if you observe long enough, you start to see the rhythm, the tides moving in harmony with the moon. The waves shaped by unseen forces of gravity, wind, and ocean currents. Reality works the same way. At first glance, life appears chaotic, unpredictable, a series of unrelated events. But beneath the surface, a deeper order exists, one that connects everything in ways we are only beginning to understand. Throughout history, the greatest thinkers have suspected that life is not as random as it seems. Carl Jung saw it in the way patients experienced meaningful coincidences that aligned perfectly with their inner struggles. He called it synchronicity, a principle that suggested events could be connected by meaning rather than just cause and effect. Albert Einstein, though a physicist devoted to logic, famously remarked that God does not play dice with the universe, implying that there was a structure, a hidden intelligence at work. Even the ancient Greeks believed in a concept called logos, the underlying rational order of the cosmos. And yet, despite centuries of inquiry, modern society still insists that life is governed by pure chance, that patterns are merely illusions created by an overactive mind. But what if they're not? What if the interconnectedness of all things isn't just philosophy, but science? Consider the astonishing patterns found in nature. A seashell spirals in the precise mathematical ratio of the Fibonacci sequence. The same pattern found in galaxies, hurricanes, and even the growth of our own DNA. The orbits of planets follow intricate, predictable geometries, as if the universe itself were composing a grand symphony. Fractal patterns repeat at every level of existence, from the branching of trees to the structure of our blood vessels. These are not accidents. They reveal an underlying order woven into reality itself, one that extends far beyond the physical world and into the realm of human experience. Modern physics provides further evidence that the universe is far more interconnected than we were taught. The principle of quantum entanglement, one of the strangest discoveries in science, shows that two particles can become mysteriously linked, so that no matter how far apart they are, even across galaxies, what happens to one instantaneously affects the other. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance. Yet experiments continue to confirm its reality. If particles can be entangled beyond space and time, what does that mean for us? Could it be that our thoughts, emotions, and even the events of our lives are similarly connected in ways we cannot yet fully measure? The human brain, too, is wired for pattern recognition, but not just in a way that explains away synchronicities as illusions. Neuroscientists have discovered that our subconscious mind processes far more information than our conscious awareness can handle. The reticular activating system, ROS, acts as a filter, allowing us to notice what is most relevant to our beliefs, emotions, and focus. This explains why, when you learn a new word, you suddenly hear it everywhere. Or why, when you start thinking about a certain type of car, you begin to see it on every street. But what if the ROS is doing more than just filtering? What if it is aligning us with the patterns of reality itself? Tuning us to a frequency where synchronicities become more apparent? Even biology suggests that we are not separate from the universe, but deeply intertwined with it. Harmath Institute researchers have demonstrated that the human heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond the body, capable of influencing and being influenced by the emotions of others. Studies show that when people are in a state of deep connection, whether through love, meditation, or shared intention, their heart rhythms synchronize. This suggests that we are not isolated beings, but part of a larger energetic web, constantly exchanging information with our environment in ways we are only beginning to comprehend. Yet, despite all this evidence, many people still dismiss synchronicities as mere chance. Why? Because modern society has conditioned us to ignore them. From the moment we enter school, we are taught to prioritize logic over intuition, external validation over inner knowing. We are told to trust authority, data, and hard evidence while ignoring the subtle, personal experiences that shape our reality. But deep down, we all have moments where we sense the hidden order at play, a dream that comes true, A gut feeling that saves us from harm. A chance encounter that changes the course of our lives. The question is not whether synchronicities exist, but whether we are willing to pay attention. The first step is to start observing. Keep a journal of meaningful coincidences, moments that feel too perfect to be random. Notice the emotions, thoughts, and circumstances surrounding them. Ask yourself, what was I thinking about when this happened? Is there a message here? The more you record, the more you will begin to see patterns forming. This is not superstition, it is a practice of awareness. The greatest discoveries in history did not come from ignoring patterns but from recognizing them. The second step is to shift your mindset. Instead of assuming life is random, try assuming it is intelligent. What changes when you believe that the universe is actively communicating with you? What happens when you stop dismissing synchronicities and start following them? Science has already proven that observation influences reality, so what reality are you choosing to observe? Finally, take action. Synchronicities are not just curiosities, they are opportunities. If you repeatedly see a certain number, hear a phrase, or meet people who point you in a particular direction, explore it. If something keeps appearing in your life, do not ignore it, engage with it. The universe speaks through repetition, nudging you toward alignment. Those who recognize and act on these signs do not just see more of them, they experience a life of effortless flow. Where doors open, opportunities appear, and life seems to click in ways that defy logic. The hidden order of reality is not a theory, it is the foundation upon which everything rests. From the spirals of galaxies to the electrical pulses in your brain. From the entangled particles in space to the inexplicable alignments in your daily life. The evidence is clear. Everything is connected. The only question is, are you willing to see it? The moment you begin to recognize the patterns, life begins to reveal itself to you in ways you never imagined. And when that happens, when you truly understand that reality is not something happening to you but with you, everything changes. You are not just an observer in this universe. You are a participant. The patterns are already there, waiting for you to wake up and finally see them. Picture yourself walking down a familiar street, lost in thought. Suddenly, a sign catches your eye, perhaps a phrase on a billboard, a song drifting from a passing car, a stranger wearing a t-shirt with words that feel eerily relevant. In that instant, something stirs within you, an uncanny sense that the world is responding to you, as if reality itself is engaged in conversation. Most people would dismiss it, brush it off as coincidence. Yet those who pay attention know better. Synchronicities are not random, they are invitations. But how do we move from merely noticing them to fully aligning with them? How do we shift from being passive observers to active participants in this hidden dialogue with reality? It begins with awareness. If you want to see synchronicities, you must first believe they are worth seeing. Modern neuroscience confirms that our perception is not a passive recording of reality but an active construction shaped by what we choose to focus on. The Reticular Activating System, RAS, a small network of neurons in the brainstem, acts as a filter, determining what information reaches our conscious mind. When you set an intention to notice synchronicities, your RAS adjusts accordingly, allowing you to see patterns that were always there but previously overlooked. This is why when you learn a new word, you suddenly hear it everywhere. Or why expectant parents start noticing baby stores on every corner. The world hasn't changed, your awareness has. And just as you can train your mind to recognize external patterns, you can train it to recognize the internal synchronicities guiding your life. But awareness alone is not enough. To truly align with synchronicities, you must understand that they are reflections of your inner state. Science has long established that our emotions and thoughts emit measurable electromagnetic frequencies. The Harmath Institute has demonstrated that the human heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends beyond the body, capable of influencing not just our own biology but also the energetic fields of those around us. This means that when you cultivate gratitude, curiosity, and openness, you are not just shifting your mood, you are literally altering the frequency of your being. And just as a radio must be tuned to the right frequency to receive a signal, your consciousness must be aligned with the right energetic state to receive meaningful synchronicities. This is why people who meditate, practice mindfulness, or engage in deep self-reflection often report a sharp increase in synchronicities. Their minds are quieter, their energy more receptive, their awareness heightened. They have stepped out of the noise of daily distractions and into the flow of something greater. And the universe responds. A chance meeting leads to an unexpected opportunity. A long-lost dream resurfaces in a way that suddenly feels attainable. The right book, the right teacher, the right message appears at precisely the right moment. These are not accidents, they are signals that you are in alignment. Yet, even with heightened awareness and an elevated state of being, there is one final step that separates those who experience occasional synchronicities from those who live in continuous flow: action. The universe does not waste energy. If you continually notice signs but fail to act on them, they will eventually fade. Synchronicities are not just messages, they are calls to movement. If you keep seeing the same number, phrase, or symbol over and over again, ask yourself, what decision am I avoiding? If life keeps nudging you toward a certain person, opportunity, or path, take a step in that direction, even if it feels uncertain. The most powerful synchronicities occur when observation turns into participation. This is where most people hesitate. They want certainty before they act, reassurance before they leap, but the nature of synchronicities is that they require trust. They ask you to move first, to show faith in the unseen order guiding you. And when you do, when you take that first step, the universe responds with even greater clarity. More signs appear, more doors open, the invisible becomes visible, and what once seemed impossible begins to unfold with ease. If you want to align with synchronicities, begin now. Start by setting an intention. Show me a sign that I am on the right path. Keep a journal of meaningful coincidences and look for patterns. Raise your energetic state through practices that cultivate joy, gratitude, and curiosity. And most importantly, when life presents you with a synchronicity, act on it, because the greatest discoveries, the most transformative moments, do not come from merely noticing the signs, they come from following where they lead. The path is already unfolding. The question is, will you walk it? Imagine you are holding a compass in your hand, but instead of pointing north, it points toward your destiny. Every step you take, every choice you make, subtly shifts the needle, guiding you toward the life you are meant to live. Synchronicities are that compass, subtle, often unexpected, but always precise. They appear as chance meetings, repeating numbers, perfectly timed messages, and unexplainable alignments that nudge you toward something greater. But here's the problem. Most people see these signs, feel the pull of intuition, and then do nothing. They hesitate, they overanalyze, they wait for certainty before taking action. But the truth is, synchronicities are not just meant to be observed, they are meant to be used. If you want them to transform your life, you must learn how to work with them, not just watch them unfold. It begins with intention. Scientists studying the brain have long understood that what we focus on expands. Neuroscience tells us that the brain is designed to filter reality based on what we prioritize. This is why the reticular activating system, RAS, allows you to suddenly notice your new car everywhere. Or why expecting mothers start seeing strollers and baby stores at every turn. This same mechanism applies to synchronicities when you set a clear intention. Your brain begins filtering the world in a way that brings relevant signs and opportunities into focus. But it's not just psychology at play. Quantum physics suggests that the mere act of observation influences reality. The famous double-slit experiment revealed that particles behave differently when they're being watched, implying that consciousness itself is an active force in shaping the world. When you intentionally seek guidance from the universe, you are not just noticing more synchronicities, you are inviting them into your reality. But intention alone is not enough. If you want to experience more synchronicities, you must also align your energy. The Harmath Institute has shown that our emotions generate electromagnetic fields that extend beyond our bodies, influencing not just our own biology but also the world around us. When you are in a state of gratitude, curiosity, and openness, your heart emits a coherent, harmonized frequency. And just like a radio must be tuned to the right station to receive a clear signal, your state of being determines whether you are tuned to the flow of synchronicity or lost in static. This is why people who practice mindfulness, meditation, and deep reflection tend to experience more meaningful coincidences. Their energy is receptive, their awareness expanded, and their nervous system attuned to the signals life is constantly sending. Yet even with clear intention and energetic alignment, Synchronicities will remain nothing more than passing curiosities unless you take action. This is the crucial step that most people miss. The universe can show you a door, but it will not push you through it. You must be the one to walk forward. Imagine a musician who keeps encountering references to a certain song, overhears conversations about it, and even dreams about performing it. If they do nothing, the synchronicities fade, but if they pick up their instrument and play, they open the doorway to even greater alignment, perhaps leading to a new opportunity, a collaboration, or a breakthrough moment. The same applies to you. If you keep seeing the same number, hearing the same phrase, or meeting people who point you toward a specific path, ask yourself, what am I being guided to do? Then do it, because when you take that first step, reality responds, the signs become clearer, the path unfolds, and what once felt mysterious begins to feel like a conversation, one in which you were an active participant, not just a listener. But here's the most fascinating part. The more you work with synchronicities, the more they multiply. Studies in behavioral psychology show that reinforcement strengthens patterns in the brain. This is why habits, both good and bad, become automatic over time. The same applies to synchronicities. When you acknowledge them, trust them, and act on them, you reinforce a neurological and energetic loop that makes them occur more frequently. It's as if reality recognizes that you are listening, and in response, it speaks even louder. Those who live in deep flow with synchronicities are not luckier than others, they are simply more attuned, more trusting, and more willing to follow the path that is being revealed to them. So how do you apply this in a practical way? Start by setting an intention. Each morning, take a moment to ask, show me a sign that I am on the right path. Be specific. If you wish, ask for a particular symbol, number, or word to appear in your day. Then, shift into alignment. Engage in activities that raise your vibration: gratitude, meditation, movement, music, anything that makes you feel alive and present. Finally, when a synchronicity appears, do not hesitate. Take action. If a name keeps coming up, reach out to that person. If an opportunity presents itself at an unusual moment, explore it. If you keep seeing a message that resonates, reflect on what it is asking of you. Because the truth is, synchronicities are not rare at all. They are everywhere, waiting for you to recognize them, align with them, and most importantly, use them. The only question is, will you? Imagine waking up each morning with a deep sense of trust, knowing that life is unfolding in perfect alignment with you. No more questioning whether you are on the right path. No more wondering if the signs you see are real or just coincidences. Instead, you move through the world with a quiet confidence, knowing that the universe is constantly guiding you, sending you synchronicities, and responding to the energy you put out. This is not just an idea reserved for mystics or philosophers, it is a reality accessible to anyone willing to step into alignment. But how do you reach this state? How do you transition from occasionally noticing synchronicities to fully living in flow with them? The answer lies in mastering awareness, trust, and action. It starts with refining your perception, training your mind to see beyond randomness and recognize the hidden order shaping your life. Neuroscientists have shown that the human brain is a prediction machine, constantly scanning for patterns and making sense of the world based on past experiences. This is why when you are focused on something, whether it's a problem, a goal, or a person, you begin to see related signs everywhere. But this is not just a trick of the mind, it is a reflection of the profound connection between consciousness and reality. The more you believe that the world is speaking to you, the more you will recognize the ways it does. The key is to shift from passive observation to active engagement. Keep a synchronicity journal, not just as a record but as a tool for pattern recognition. Over time, you will begin to notice themes emerging, certain messages repeating, guiding you toward deeper understanding. The more you engage with these signs, the more frequent and precise they become. Yet awareness alone is not enough. True mastery comes when you learn to trust what you see. Most people encounter synchronicities but hesitate to act on them. They second-guess, looking for more confirmation, waiting for certainty. But synchronicities are not meant to provide absolute proof. They are meant to invite you into a deeper relationship with reality. Think of them like stepping stones across a river. The first one appears, but unless you step onto it, the next stone remains hidden. Only when you move forward does the path reveal itself. Quantum physics has already suggested that reality is not fixed but responsive, that observation itself alters the course of events. This means that the moment you choose to trust the synchronicities appearing in your life, you begin to shift the way reality responds to you. The Harmath Institute has shown that when people cultivate positive emotions such as gratitude and coherence, their heart's electromagnetic field influences not only their own nervous system but also those around them. This suggests that alignment is not just an internal state but an active force that reshapes the world you experience. The more you trust, the stronger the connection becomes. Then comes the final and most important step: action. Synchronicities are like doors, but you must walk through them. It is not enough to recognize them, to marvel at them, to tell stories about them. If you do not act, the synchronicities fade, and life returns to feeling random. But when you move with them, they multiply. Consider the stories of those who have followed their synchronicities, artists who felt an unexplained pull toward a certain city and found their greatest inspiration there. Entrepreneurs who kept encountering the same message and decided to take a leap. Travelers who met the right person at precisely the right time and changed the course of their lives. These are not accidents, they are the natural result of trusting and acting in alignment. Science supports this as well. Studies on behavioral reinforcement show that when we acknowledge and act on patterns, our brains strengthen those pathways, making them easier to recognize in the future. This means that the more you engage with synchronicities, the more they will appear. So what does this mean for you? It means that you have a choice. You can continue living as if reality is random, as if life is happening to you rather than with you. Or you can begin to see the deeper order at work, the invisible architecture that has been guiding you all along. You can start today, right now, by setting an intention. Ask for a clear sign, something unmistakable. Then, open yourself to seeing it. When it appears, do not dismiss it, acknowledge it. Write it down, reflect on it, and when a synchronicity calls you to action, take the step, no matter how small, because the truth is, once you begin this process, life will never feel random again. You will no longer be moving through the world blindly but in harmony with it. And as you deepen this awareness, as you learn to trust, as you take bold action, you will step into a life where synchronicities are no longer occasional miracles but everyday occurrences, guiding you toward exactly where you were always meant to be.